The skeletal system is one of the most important systems in the human body. It provides support, protection, and allows for movement. The skeletal system is made up of bones, cartilage, and joints. Bones are hard, dense tissue that provides the main support of the structure for the body. Cartilage is a cushion between bones and joint. Joints are the areas where bones meet and allow movement. The skeletal system has a number of important functions, which are the support, protection, movement, and lastly is the storage. Good day everyone, I am Carla Lea S. Lopez with my group mates Angeline Javier, Merihade Hanali Jacob, Melissa May Lisay, Ayesha Gingab, Micaela Joy Inigo, Mildred Lawagan, and Dia Rose Dolores. The topic that given to us is all about the general functions of the skeletal system and the normal structure. So first we are going to tackle the general functions of the skeletal system, which is the support, protection, movement, storage, and the blood cell production. So, support form the framework that supports the body and cradles soft organs. So, support, it means parang ginagamit natin siya for us to support our movements. How we can move if we don't have our bones to support us. Next, the protection. Provide a protective case for the brain, spinal cord, and vital organs. Example of our protection is our skull. Ano ba ang pinoprotect ng skull natin, 'di ba? Yung brain natin. So, kailangan niya protektahan yung brain natin kasi malambot po yung brain natin. Next, movement. Provide levers for muscles. Levers formed by bones, joints. So, yung bones natin, siya yung nag-act as a lever. Next, storage. Reservoir for minerals, especially calcium and phosphorus. Calcium is essential for bone development, maintenance, and repair, while the phosphorus essential for the bone health. Next, blood cell production. Hematopoiesis occurs within the marrow cavities of bones. Most blood cells are made in our bone marrow. The process called hematopoiesis. Let me define first hematopoiesis occurs in our bone marrow. I know you are all familiar sa bone marrow. So, yung bone marrow natin, yun yung cavity natin sa bones. Hematopoiesis and hematopoiesis is not the same because hematopoiesis is the process of the blood cells made in our bone marrow, while the hematopoiesis is a function of the skeletal system. This is because in humans, most blood cell development takes place in the marrow of the long bones such as the tibia and the femur. So may dalawang klase po ng bone marrow, which is the red bone marrow and the yellow bone marrow. Yun po yung medullary cavity. May dalawa siyang type. Yun yung red bone marrow and the yellow bone marrow. And next, let's proceed to the different parts of the skeletal system. So first is the cranium. Cranium, also known our skull, spherical shape. So our cranium is made up of 8 bones, which are the frontal, parietal, temporal, occipital, sphenoid, and the ethmoid. So ito po yung mga 8 bones. Ito po yung parietal, and then the frontal, yung ethmoid, yung ito natin, and the sphenoid, yung dito po natin, and the temporal dito po, and the occipital ito. The mandible is a lower jawbone. It is the only movable bone in the skull. Next, the maxilla. The maxillae are the 2 upper jawbones. They contain the upper teeth and the sinuses. Next, sternum. is a long flat bone located in the center of the chest. This is also known our breastbone. Next, vertebral column. The spine or our backbone. Ilium bone referred to as the iliac bone. Pelvis, the middle part of the human body between the lumbar region of the abdomen superiorly and thighs inferiorly.
Hello everyone, my name is Diaros Dolores and I will discuss you the clavicle. The clavicle, also known as the collarbone, is a slender bone connecting the sternum to the scapula, providing essential structural support to the shoulder and the upper body. The next one is scapula. Scapula or shoulder blade is a flat, triangular bone forming at the back of the shoulder. Crucial for the movement is stability for the arm and shoulder joint. The next one is the humerus. The humerus is a long bone of the upper arm connecting the shoulder and the elbow joints, allowing for a wide range of movement in the arm. The next one is the ribs. Ribs are sets of curved bone forming the rib cage, protecting vital organs such as the heart, the lungs, and assisting in breathing. The next one is the radius and ulna. The radius and ulna are the two bones of the forearm. The radius runs to the thumb side and the ulna on the pinky side, allowing for the rotation and movement for the arm. The next one is the carpals. Carpals are the small bone forming the wrist, providing stability and flexibility to the hand. The next one is the metacarpals. Metacarpals are the bones in the palm of the hand, connecting the carpals to the phalange, forming the structure of the hand. The next one is the phalange. Phalange are the bones of the fingers and toes, allowing for the five movements and dexterity. The next one is the femur. The femur is the high bone and the longest and stronger bones in the human body, supporting the body weight and enabling various leg movement. The next one is the patella. Patella or the kneecap is a small and flat bone in front of the knee joint, protecting the knee and enhancing the efficiency of the leg movements. The next one is the fibula and tibia. The fibula and tibia are the bones in the lower leg, and the tibia is shin bone is a larger and bears most of the body weight, while the fibula provides support to the muscle and ligaments. The next one is the tarsals. Tarsals are the bone of the ankle, forming the lower part of the leg's skeletal structure and providing stability to the foot. The last one is the metatarsals. Metatarsals are the five long bones in the midfoot, connecting the toes in the ankle bones, and it's providing us stability and support like pillars for our feet.
Letter B, normal structure. So the first thing that we have here is the acetabulum. The acetabulum is the bony socket of the hip bone that holds the head of the femur. It came from the Latin word for vinegar because it resembles the base for the vinegar cruet. The acetabulum is the part of the hip joint, which is a large weight-bearing joint that connects the pelvis to the lower limb. One of the main functions of the hip joint is to transfer weight from the vertebral column to the acetabulum and lower extremities when standing, as well as to allow for the range of motion necessary for climbing, walking, running, or jumping. Next one is we have articulation, which is also called a joint. So a joint is a location where two bones meet. Most joints contain a single articulation while some joints have more than one articulation, including the knee and the elbow joints. Articulations vary in the amounts of movement they allow as well as their structures. Next one is we have the atlas. So the atlas is the first vertical vertebra. So the next one we have is the axis. So the axis is the second cervical vertebra. The atlas is the topmost vertebra and the axis forms the joint connecting the skull and spine. The atlas and axis are specialized to allow a greater range of motion than normal vertebrae. So they are responsible for the nodding and rotation movements of the head. The atlas and axis are important neurologically because the brainstem extends down to the axis. The next one we have is the bone. The bone is a calcified form of dense connective tissue, osseous tissue, also an individual unit of the skeleton made of such tissue. So the bones come in a variety of shapes and sizes and have a complex internal and external structures. They are lightweight yet strong and hard and serve multiple functions. In the human body at birth, there are approximately 300 bones present. Many of these fuse together during development, leaving a total of 206 separate bones in the adult, not counting numerous small sesamoid bones. The largest bone of the body is the femur or thigh bone, and the smallest is the stapes in the middle ear. So now I'm going to show you some examples about the normal structures that I just discussed earlier. So first one is we have the acetabulum. Next is the atlas. And now we have the articulation and the axis. And of course, we have the bones. Next is we have the bursa. So the bursa is a fluid-filled sac that reduces friction near a joint. So the bursa is a small fluid-filled sac lined by a synovial membrane with an inner capillary layer of viscous synovial fluid. It provides a cushion between bones and tendons and or muscles around a joint. This helps to reduce friction between the bones and allows free movement. Next is we have the cartilage. The cartilage is a type of dense connective tissue that is found in the skeleton, the larynx, trachea, and bronchi. It is precursor to most bone tissue. So the cartilage is a semi-transparent and non-porous type of tissue. It is usually covered by a tough and fibrous membrane called perichondrium. It is not as hard and rigid as a bone, but it is much stiffer and much less flexible than a muscle. It is a freely movable joint, which is also called a synovial joint. This joint unites long bones and permits free bone movement and greater mobility. They are the most common and most movable type of joint in the body of a mammal. And now we have the diaphysis. So the diaphysis is the shaft of a long bone. So it is a middle tubular part composed of compact bone which surrounds the central marrow cavity which contains red or yellow marrow. In diaphysis, primary ossification occurs. So now let us take a look at the examples of the structures that I just discussed earlier. So first is we have the bone marrow. Next is we have the bursa. And now we have the cartilage, the synovial joint or the diarthrosis. And lastly is we have the diaphysis.
Hello everyone, I am Angeline C. Javier and I'm going to discuss the continuation of the normal structure of the skeletal system. So we have the epiphyseal plate. As you can see in the picture, that is epiphyseal plate. That bone called femur. Epiphyseal plate, also known as the growth plate. The growth region of a long bone located in the metaphysis between the diaphysis and epiphysis. When bone growth ceases, this area appears as the epiphyseal line. So the bone growth ceases, which means to stop or to come to an end. It helps your bones to get longer as you grow. As you get older, it hardens and stops your bones from getting longer. Next, we have the epiphysis. Epiphysis is the irregular shape end of a long bone. The epiphysis is the bumpy and uneven part at the end of a long bone. Long bones are like the ones in your arms and legs. These ends helps the bone grow and become strong as you grow up. They have a special part called the growth plate that helps bones get longer until you're all grown up. So, in simple words, the epiphysis is the lumpy part at the ends of the long bones that helps them grow and become strong. So, we have the proximal epiphysis. Proximal epiphysis is the end of the long bone closest to the center of the body. So, we also have the distal epiphysis. So it means it is the end of a long bone that is farther away from the center of the body. Next, we have the ilium. In the picture is the image of pelvis. As you can see there, that is the ilium. Ilium is the large, flared superior portion of the pelvic bone. Root ilio. Adjective iliac. The ilium is one of the three bones that make up the human pelvis. So we have ilium, ischium or posterior, and the pubis interior. It is essential for supporting the abdominal organs. Next, we have the joint. Joints are connections between bones in the body. There are different types of joints that let you do different kinds of movements like bending your elbow or rotating your neck. Keeping your joint healthy is important for staying active and moving comfortably. The junction between two bones, articulation, root, arthro. Next is ligament. Ligaments are tough, stretchy bands that connect bone to bone in your body. They help stabilize and support your joints, preventing them from moving too much in wrong direction. Next is metaphysis. So in the picture, that is what we call metaphysis. We have proximal metaphysis and distal metaphysis. The region of a long bone between the middle or called shaft and the bumpy ends called epiphysis is a special area when bone grow. This area is like a bridge between the two ends. While you're growing up, it's where your bones get longer. We call it the growing region of a long bone because it helps your bones grow bigger and longer as you get older. It's an essential part of bone development. Next, we have the ossification. Ossification is the process of bone formation. It involves the gradual replacement of cartilage or soft connective tissue with hardened bone tissue. It is the process of turning soft tissue or what we call cartilage into hard bone tissue. It is how bones form and grow in the body, and it also helps the bone healing. Next, we have the osteoblasts. These are the ones that secrete the bone matrix that consists collagen and other proteins, meaning they are responsible for bone growth. So sila yung responsible sa ating bone growth. Osteoblast is a cell that produces bone tissues. Surrounded by bone matrix, they become our next type of cell called osteocytes. Next, we have the osteoclasts. These are the bone building cells. They help maintain bone health and reshape bones as needed. A cells that destroys bone tissue. So, kung ang osteoblast ay siyang nagpo-produce ng ating bone tissue, kabaliktaran naman sa osteoclast. Ito naman ang nagde-destroy ng bone tissue. So, lastly, we have the osteocytes. These are mature bone cells that monitor and maintain the bone matrix, communicating this information to other cells. So, ang osteocytes, yun yung bone cell natin na nagmo-monitor and nagme-maintain ng ating bone matrix. So, I hope that you learned something from me. That's all. Thank you.
For today, I will discuss about the pelvic tendon. So, let's start. The pelvic region is a substantial bony structure located at the front of the trunk. It comprises two hip bones. It is called ossa coccyx, which connects to the sacrum and coccyx. Each hip bone is composed of three distinct parts: the broad and upwardly flared ilium, the ischium, and the pubis. Together, these components form the pelvic girdle, which supports the spine and acts as an anchor for various muscles, tendons, and ligaments, critical for mobility and stability of the body. Periosteum. The periosteum is a tough, fibrous membrane that covers the outer surface of bones, providing protection and serving as a site for bone repair and growth. In short, it is the process of removing or breaking down bone tissue, leading to its absorption into the bloodstream. This natural process plays a role in a bone remodeling. Skeleton. The body's bone framework, consisting of 206 bones. The axial portion has 80 bones, and it is composed of the skull, spinal column, ribs, and sternum. The appendicular skeleton has 126 bones, contains the bones of the arms and legs, shoulder girdle, and pelvis. Suture. Suture is an immovable joint typically found in the skull, where bones are tightly connected and do not move. It helps maintain the structure and stability of the skull. Symphysis. A symphysis refers to a slightly movable joint, where two bones are connected by cartilage. This limited mobility allows for some flexibility while still providing stability. Synovial fluid. Synovial fluid is the lubricating fluid found in freely movable joints, known as synovial joints. This fluid helps reduce friction between the articulating surfaces of the bones, enabling smooth and pain-free movement. Synovial joint. A synovial joint is a type of freely movable joint, characterized by the presence of a joint cavity containing synovial fluid. These joints, also called diatroses, allow for a wide range of motion and are found in various parts of the body. And lastly, tendon. A tendon is a tough, fibrous band made of connective tissue that attaches muscle to bone. Tendon plays a crucial role in transmitting the force generated by muscles to the bones, enabling movement and stability in the musculoskeletal system.
Thorax. It is the upper part of the trunk between the neck and the abdomen, formed by the 12 pairs of ribs and sternum. So thorax is the part of the body between the neck and the abdomen, commonly known as the chest. It houses vital organs like the heart and lungs and is protected by the rib cage. So when we say sternum, it is also known as the breastbone. It is a flat, elongated bone located in the center of the chest. It protects the vital organs in the chest. Annulus fibrosus, the outer ring-like portion of an invertebral disc. So annulus fibrosus is a ring of the fibrous tissue that surrounds the gel-like center nucleus pulposus of an vertebral disc in the spine. It provides structural support and helps cushion the spinal vertebrae. Next is the clavaria. Clavaria is the dome-like upper portion of the skull. So clavaria, it is a dome-like. When you say dome-like, it refers to something that has a shape or structure similar to a dome. So when we say dome, it is a rounded or hemispherical structure that curves upward from a flat or curved base, forming a roughly circular or half spherical shape. Coxa, hip. So coxa is a term used in anatomy to refer to the hip joint of the hip bone. It is an important part of the human skeletal system and plays a key role in movement and stability. Next is cruciate ligament. Ligaments that cross in the knee joint to connect the tibia and fibula. They are the anterior cruciate ligament ACL and the posterior cruciate ligament PCL. Cruciate means shape like cross. So, cruciate ligament, it is a pair of ligaments found in the knee joint. They include the ACL and the PCL. So these ligaments provide stability to the knee and are often injured in sports-related activities. So, what is tibia? Tibia is one of the two long bones in lower leg. And fibula naman po is smaller of the two long bones in the lower leg. Next is the genu, the knee. Genu is a term used in anatomy to refer to the knee or the knee joint. It is often used in medical terminology to describe structures or conditions related to the knee. Glenoid cavity. It is the bony socket in the scapula that articulates with the head of the humerus. So glenoid activity, also known as the glenoid fossa, is a shallow, concave surface on the scapula, shoulder blade, that forms part of the shoulder joint. It provides a socket for the head of the humerus upper arm bone to articulate with, allowing for a wide range of shoulder movement. Hallux, it is the great toe. Hallux is the medical term for the big toe. It is the largest and most prominent toe on the human foot and plays a crucial role in balance and walking. Malleolus. It is the projection of the tibia or fibula on either side of the ankle. So malleolus refers to the bony protrusions on both sides of the human ankle. There are two malleoli, the medial malleolus on the other side of the ankle and the lateral malleolus on the outside. This structure helps stabilize the ankle joint.
Meniscus. Crescent-shaped disc of cartilage found in certain joints. In the knee, the medial meniscus and the lateral meniscus separate the tibia and femur. Plural, menisci, meniscus means crescent. Meniscus provides a stability and cushioning to the knee joint. Nucleus pulposus, the central mass of an invertebral disc. Nucleus pulposus acts as a shock absorber for the spine. It helps distribute the pressure evenly across the invertebral disc and prevents excessive stress on the vertebral bodies. Olecranon, the process of the ulna that forms the elbow. Olecranon provides attachment points for various muscles and ligaments that contribute to the stability and movement of the elbow joint. Os, bone, plural ossa. Ossus, pertaining to the bone. Ossus is the specialized connective tissue that forms bones, is crucial for several functions on the body. Symphysis pubis, the anterior pelvic joint formed by the union of two pubic bones, also called pubic symphysis. Symphysis pubis is located at the midline of the body. It supports to the pelvis during weight-bearing activities and movements. Next, let's move into bone markings. Condyle, smooth rounded protuberance at a joint. Condyle prominence on a bone that articulates or forms a joint with another bone. Crest is a raised narrow ridge. Epicondyle, projection above a condyle. Epicondyle has two main epicondyle in the human body. It is the medial epicondyle and the lateral epicondyle. The epicondyles providing attachment such for muscles and ligaments involved in the movements and stability of the elbow joint.
So guys, let's move on to the facet. When we say facet, it is a small flattened surface. It is a smooth, flat surface that forms a joint with another flat bone or another facet together creating a gliding joint. And the example for that is the articular facet. It is inside the atlas by the vertebral foramen. As you can see, yung surface doon, yung surface dito, as you can see, the orange sponge is touches this surface, and that surface is the articular facet. Next is the foramen or foramen. It is a rounded opening. It is a hole through which nerves and blood vessels pass. Or sa madaling salita, foramen ay isang opening na nag-a-allow sa passage of the structures from one region to another. It is particularly found in the skull. So, as you can see in this picture, it is the inferior part of the skull. The hole right there is called the foramen magnum. Next is the fossa. When we say fossa, it is a hollow cavity. It is a shallow or depression in the bone surface. Here, it may receive another articulating bone or act to support brain structures. And the example for fossa is the mandibular fossa. This is a pelvic bone, and the shallow part is the lower tailbone, and that shallow and that bone-like depression is called mandibular fossa. This, as you can see. And next is the meatus. When we say meatus, it is a passage or channel. It is a tube-like channel that extends within the bone, which may provide passage and protection to nerves, vessels, and even sound. And the example for that is the external auditory meatus. And this is the picture. The hole right there is called the external auditory meatus. Next is sinus. When we say sinus, it is a space or channel or air-filled spaces in certain skull bones. And the example for that is the frontal sinus. Yeah, it is a cavity within any organ or tissue. This is the frontal sinus. And next is the trochanter. When we say trochanter, it is a large blunt projection at the top of the femur. The example for that is the greater trochanter, as you can see. Ito po siya. It is a blunt projection. When we say projection po pala, it is the outgrowth of bone from a larger body. As you can see, this is the trochanter. It is present only on femur, and it is a large prominence on the side of the bone, and some of the largest muscle groups and most dense connective tissues attached to the trochanter. And next is tubercle. When we say tubercle, it is a small rounded production, a small rounded prominence where connective tissues attach. And the example for the tubercle, it is it can found in the humerus. When we say humerus, it is the upper arm bone. And this picture is the lesser tubercle. As you can see, hindi siya makita. So this, the orange sponge touches the tubercle. It is a small projection, as you can see. Yes. And next is the tuberosity. When you say tuberosity, it is a large rounded projection. The example for that tuberosity is that it can found on the tibia, or it when you say tibia, it is the larger of the two bones in the lower leg. The larger two bones of the lower leg, tibia. And that bone is the tibia. Yes. Itong example is found on tibia. And that bone is called tibial tuberosity. Hindi lang siya makita, pero that's the example. This is the example of tuberosity. And that ends my and some of you are maybe confused on what are the differences of tubercle and tuberosity, but when you say tubercle, it is a small rounded projection. When you say tuberosity, it is the large rounded projection. And tubercle is it refers to the smaller lumps, and when you say tuberosity, it refers to the slightly larger lumps. And that's it.
I hope that you learned something from us. Thank you for listening, future registered nurses. Remember, as you embark on your own journey to become healthcare heroes, your dedication and compassion will make a world of difference. Best of luck in your studies and future careers. And may you bring comfort and healing to countless lives. Stay curious, stay committed, and keep making a positive impact in the world.